funding. At this point in the stream, we'd like to send a shout out to our friends at Come Not a Quest, as they are looking for investors to fund 2 brand new escape rooms. If we can offer some guidance to these guys when it comes to looking for funding, with Trapdoor in the past, how have we come to fund some of our games, especially some of the larger games we had? Funding a 3,000 square foot space is by no means an easy task.
So, this changes as your company evolves. When you have nothing to show, you're going to be very hard up to get someone to hand you money. Trapdoor has kind of like that almost fairy tale story at this point, so to speak. But what people don't see is the decade that we couldn't get anyone to hand us a penny before Trapdoor was ever a thing, and we couldn't raise funding. No matter what we did.
How long has Trapdoor been like a legitimate business?
Since summer of 15.
Summer of 15. So we've been official for about 4 years now.
Yeah.
Around 5 years. Okay.
Yeah, going into the 5th. Yeah. So, but we've been a business not operating as Trapdoor, but operating as Microtone.
Right.
An alternate reality since 2010.
Okay, so yeah, you guys are pushing on the whole 10-year mark when it comes to the building.
So we had
to
keep doing free.
Mm-hmm.
And when it came time to open Trapdoor in Red Bank, the way we had done it was a combination of 3 different sources. Source number 1, I maxed out my credit cards. Source number 2 was we had 1 investor at the time.
Only 1 investor.
Yeah, it was a minimal amount of money. We opened Trapdoor very inexpensively, and really rested on our film production and our time.
Just everything that you could do without spending too much money. Just honed in on.
It's funny because you can't put a price tag on your time because you have a finite amount of it.
That's true.
However, and you can never get time back. Once it's gone, it's gone. However, having said that, your time is also worthless until it's valuable.
Well, time is money, as they say.
So, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears went into Red Bank opening with Escape the Architect, but we did it very inexpensively. The entire thing cost under $20,000.
Which is amazing as far as building an establishment goes.
But it's also a very different world.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very different industry than it was in 2015. And when we did that, you also have to keep in mind that we already had 5 years of learning curve of what worked and what didn't work when we were doing things for free. And Windward Hotel was our first, I guess, great example of, we self-funded a project that was just one project with an end date on it. And, being able to say, okay, how much marketing had to go into selling out that showcase and so forth.
Right.
So we kind of knew what worked and what didn't work to get people in the door already. What we need to figure out when we opened Trapdoor was how did we bring down our overhead? Because Windward Hotel ultimately cost as much as it made.
Oof.
So we didn't make any money.
Right.
So it was tougher to be able to, even with the 1 investor, say, and even myself, and my family at home, to be able to say, okay, we're going to charge all this. How are we going to keep the costs lower this time, so that we actually make money back?
Because at the end of the day, you need to make that profit.
Right, and that ultimately was we couldn't include a cast of 9 to 12 people. It needed to be pre-filmed segments in the set,
exactly.
And so that this way you could keep those costs down because actors are expensive, and we were able to do that. The third element was pre-sales.
Just getting the word out as early as humanly possible.
Yeah. Once, Kickstarter, no. You need to have some celebrity status in order to do that. It's not to say it's not possible, but you need to have some celebrity status to do it.
GoFundMe and Kickstarter are definitely popularity based. It's 100% based off of who you know.
So, once we knew we were opening, once that ball was rolling enough that we had our lease, which required 2.5 to 3 months security. Once we had our, which is usually your lease payment times 3. Sometimes more. Sometimes you never know what they're going to ask for. We got very, very lucky with our first landlords.
Right.
And once we were in that, ball rolling, then people want to board the
when they
locomotive.
see that it's an actual business,
Right.
that's building up instead of
Right.
just a startup.
So that initial lease payment was on my credit card. So that, but at least once we had the building, we were able to say our set design is going to be what this building looks like.
Right.
We intentionally found a space that looked like a serial killer might be held up inside this place.
You just walk in, you take a deep breath. This is creepy as hell. It's perfect. Where's the contract?
There was a little bit of that. So, what puzzles could we facilitate in this place without spending any money? And then the other investor, that money was more or less marketing.
Okay.
A street sign alone was $2,000 just to put
Yeah.
on the front of the parking lot. And then we needed one on the building. So, you got to start printing promotional materials, brochures. A minimum order of brochures, you're spending between $700 and $1,000. So, all that stuff, now you got to hire people and you got to start canvassing. You got to get all those marketing materials out to the public. So, you got to be ready in case you do get people in the door. So that's where all 3 of those segments came together for us.
Okay.
However, Escape the Architect did well, and then QRZ was a monster.
Yeah.
So once QRZ hit and everybody saw what it was doing, then people were like, can we give you money?
Yeah, because they just wanted to be on the train as the train was progressing forward.
Right.
Definitely.
Right. But the element, though, that a lot of people don't look at, and we didn't even look at it to a degree at that point, it was just like, we're doing awesome, keep going, is that if you're bringing in funding,
Right.
it's because you're building the business larger, which
Yes.
means that it's going to take longer to get returns,
Absolutely, yeah.
and you're building it larger. That's time consuming. So I do believe that most of the people that invested in 2017
Right.
expected returns in 3 months.
And that's just not the case.
It's not.
That's
So-
impossible by any stretch of the word.
So we're still returning those investments.
Of course.
We're out of 3 investors that came in, our first investor for Red Bank is paid out and done. But out of the 3, we're still paying back investor 1.
Oof.
So we're that's time consuming.
It is incredible.
Because once you commit to we're going to grow this company into something more, then it depends what was that commitment. Because for example, we're trying to build Trapdoor into this, worldwide phenomenon of a brand,
Right.
which means that what they invested only took care of one stage.
Whereas we're going to have multiple stages within the
So
company.
now their investment allowed us to create what is funding the next segments, and instead of paying them back, we're refunding. We're reinvesting that money coming in, so that money's not there for return on investment because it's going back into the business.
Right.
But that's the cycle. So now as the company grows, it's self-funding itself. We opened Poconos without any outside financial revenue. That was strictly based off of Morristown and Red Bank funding the Poconos.
But
And,
you were popular enough at that point that you could do that.
right. And then now Freak Show, on the other hand, Freak Show was very, very expensive.
It was, and it's another one of those examples where the bigger it is, the harder it is to set up.
Well, QRZ is the same size.
Right.
But what we had going into QRZ was all the footage from when it was in Red Bank.
That's true. We did have a bit of an upper
Thousands
hand
of
there.
dollars that we now just own the rights to that footage. So that was just plug and play.
Well, whereas with Freak Show, we were starting from square one.
Right.
Like footage, the set design, everything.
They can't see it in view, but right to the side of me is the app, the massive supercomputer in QRZ. That developing and designing that app alone costs thousands. That is just proprietary now. We own
Yep.
it. It can go anywhere. It's literally plug a USB into an app now, and you're good to go. It's not difficult. So the footage and the technology in the game was already there.
Right.
At that point, it was just expanding the set, and and then we had to redevelop some puzzles, but it was very inexpensive in comparison to Freak Show
Right.
to set up QRZ. Freak Show, we had to create an entire sideshow
Exactly.
and film it.
We didn't exactly have all the pieces to it coming in either.
Right.
We had to go out and get the hardware.
Costumes and more. We spent. Chris Schwartz, our
engineer,
director of engineering, we still have like $12,000 in invoice stuff we have to pay out for literally just little chips and sensors and little stuff like that because of some of the crazy stuff we did in Freak Show. And we're like, we've got $1,000 towards that at the moment. It's like further investing in your future while paying back those amounts. Now, same token, the company is at a different stage now. Trapdoor is a multi-million-dollar company now. So the banks constantly want to give us like multi-$100,000 loans and lines of credit.
Yeah.
Our own merchant service we can pull $100,000 from at any point if we needed to. So we're in a very different spot now.
Yeah, exactly.
So now we don't need to ask for investments anymore.
No, the investments just kind of come to us at this point, and
Right.
that just kind of comes with the growth of the company.
I wouldn't, for example, I wouldn't bring in future investors for locations because I wouldn't want to split revenue with anyone.
Right.
They're doing that. I wouldn't want to. But they're also more of a franchise establishment than we are.
They are, yeah, I did read that.
So totally different business model. I want to own everything. So we're not going that route. But having said that, the different element there is it's not difficult for us because we've already established ourselves.
Right.
We're hitting 5 years now as a company that year over year has profited more money. I shouldn't even say profited because there's no profit when you're spending it all. But we've earned more money year over year.
Just because of the growth of our production quality, our size, and just kind of what we do as a company, too.
Right. So, more locations means more people coming in the door, but also higher quality means more people coming in the door.
Absolutely. When the people pay as much as they want to pay for one of our tickets, buying tickets to one of our games, you definitely expect to come in and see that top-notch quality.
Yeah. So, it's the whole thing. But, to anyone who's out there looking to open up a business and they're looking for funding, there's life cycles, there's stages. You got to bootstrap it at the start. Finding investors is going to be very, very tough. You're going to have to either through savings or, I can't ever recommend maxing out credit cards because we were lucky. We sold, past our goals in that first month that Trapdoor opened. If we didn't, I'd be in a very different situation. So.
It is what it is.
I also don't like leaving myself a back door, though.
No, definitely not.
So, I'm very much a balls to the wall, in it to win it, live or die.
He's not exaggerating by any stretch of the word.
So, hopefully that helps for anyone that was watching for that.
Well, Kamnata Quest is a company that you mentioned is a franchise. The investment needed is $100,000 with 5% of all the income.
$170,000.
$170,000, my mistake. With 5% of the income from the games going to those investors, with an approximate 3-year investment payoff. 6 investors, already contributed to Kamnata Quest, with 4 already being paid off. So if you're interested in investing Kamnata Quest, be sure to hit them up at their website.
Now, on the same token that we just gave them that very nice selfless plug, also keep in mind that one of their locations in Manhattan just closed.
We speak only the truth, nothing but the truth.
Now, in fairness, it did not close to ticket sales.
What was the reason it closed?
I think it had something to do with code issues.
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah.
So, hopefully they've learned from that mistake. But I've personally said that, our team has, as a team building event, visited Kamnata Quest and played with them. They make some incredibly cool games.
The one that I saw on their website that was super interesting to me was their Joker-themed escape room. So yeah, a lot of their games.
All right, so that makes me slightly angry because that's intellectual property theft. But, and I believe we're talking about that at some point in the future here today too.
Yes.
But not Joker Cafe, but a different thing. But there are games like The Impossible Murder Mystery. Cursed is amazing, and Cursed is one that fell to that closing that was in that location.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's disappointing.
Cursed is an amazing game, very horror, but
okay, so it sounds like something I would enjoy for sure.
But they make really cool stuff. The problem is that it's so realistic that it might be life threatening.
I see. Okay.
From chairs with actual real nails sticking up out of them that you could trip and fall onto.
Okay.
To
wow.
real steel hooks hanging from the ceiling that I tripped and caught my hand on, luckily in the loop, not the actual point. But their spots were a little dangerous.
I understand wanting to immerse the players, but I feel like that would fall under a step too far.
Yeah. So, what's next? And we hope you'll join us next time, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't below. Like, comment, subscribe. And